you know what? Every parent is going to do what they need to do, what's best for their kid. And that's me included. And so that part of my brain kind of can turn off a little bit and go, I'm not so worried about what everyone else is thinking. I can just be myself.
You're listening to the Connected Parenting Minute with Will and CarrieAnn Standfest. This podcast is a conversation about parenting using connection-first, trauma-informed principles. Because when you lead with connection, everyone feels seen, which is the foundation to a more peaceful home. This podcast reminds you that you don't have to be a perfect parent, but we can all get a little better, one connected parenting minute at a time.
Hello, and welcome back to the Connected Parenting Minute. My name is Will Standfest, and I'm so glad you're joining us here tonight. With me, as always, is the lovely CarrieAnn Standfest.
Here we are.
Well, this is Road Thoughts Part 2, our on-the-road mobile podcasting setup. We're currently driving from Colorado Springs down to Westcliffe, Colorado for our annual family camp week.
That's right.
It is a wonderful time where we get to spend the week being taken care of by camp staff, and we're staying in a cabin with some other families, and there's activities and all these things. But one of the best parts about the week is that every family that is there is a foster or adoptive family.
And for us, that's been a really big adjustment in our family life because we have kind of a unique situation. I mean, we have 6 biological children, but then we did add to our family through adoption. And there's some unique challenges and unique thoughts that come with that. And so we thought we'd just talk about that, about the idea that when every family is unique, that's pretty accurate. Every family has their own unique things. Now, whether it's special needs in some way, medical things,
young kids, older kids.
Exactly. Special
blended families.
Considerations with diet, or I keep thinking medical stuff because I do know some families that deal with some pretty significant medical things. And it's very easy to feel isolated and alone when you are dealing with those particular challenges as a family. And it's easy to believe the lie that you're the only person and nobody else gets it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's unique to families that are facing, medical or other types of struggles. You don't need to feel isolated. That is just, I think, the human condition. Is this, we tend to believe this lie that nobody else understands us.
That's true. I mean, you can even think of it this way. Maybe there's a family that has 2 kids and all the people that they know have like 5 kids and they're
or one kid.
Either way, it's easy to believe that lie that we're the only ones and that nobody else deals with the particular challenges that we deal with. And so one of the things that we find really important, and we keep preaching to ourselves too, is to find those people that can relate or that we connect with, that see us where we are.
Yeah.
And just reminding ourselves, reminding our listeners that finding those people can be so valuable in your
deeply.
journey as a family.
Yeah. That's what kind of spurred this conversation is we were just talking. We've been looking forward to this family camp week for months.
All year.
Yeah. All year is probably fair because it's just a week where being around other foster and adoptive families, some with bio kids, some without, there's a deeper level of understanding of some of the dynamics, some of the challenges, some of the struggles you have as a family when the other families there have gone through the same thing.
Right. Or they can relate in some way and you don't end up feeling like you're the oddball out.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is deeply soothing to your soul, really.
Mm-hmm.
When you have those moments where you feel like the person you're with or the people you're with deeply and truly understand you, you don't even have to say that much, but it just you feel not alone.
Well, there's an element too. I think that if anybody's like me, and as much as I tell myself that I'm very unique in a lot of things, I know that other people face similar things, but I tend to want everyone to understand where I'm coming from or the situation that I'm coming from. And I worry about what other people are thinking when I'm parenting my kids, when they're asking me something and I'm going, oh, goodness gracious, or I might let my kid do something that maybe in the neurotypical, Christian family would be frowned upon for whatever reason, but I know that that's something this kid needs.
Yeah.
Well, I tend to worry about that. And I tend to think about what other people are thinking with that. But in this particular space for us, it's a week where we can just sit back and we go, okay, you know what? Every parent is going to do what they need to do, what's best for their kid. And that's me included. And so that part of my brain kind of can turn off a little bit and go, I'm not so worried about what everyone else is thinking. I can just be myself.
That's really good. I like that because that really talks to that idea. Well, is a little bit what we talked about in a previous episode about how we kind of fill in the story.
Yep.
About what's going on, especially when we have gaps of knowledge because we can't perfectly know what anybody else is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of a deep conversation, which as busy families, we rarely have time for, you have a bits and pieces of interactions with somebody. And then we tend to fill in the gaps.
Right.
And the story we tell ourselves is not always complimentary or assuming the best of the situation or the relationship we have with this other person.
Yep.
And so when we get into those places where we're filling in the gaps with a negative story and stuff like that, it's hard. It's exhausting. Again, it's lonely. It makes you feel isolated. It makes you feel like nobody understands you. And yet, if you can find those people that do understand enough of your story, that you feel seen, that you feel like you can let your guard down, that you feel like you don't have to second guess yourself quite as much. Again, it's soothing to your soul. I'm going back to the same thing, but I just feel that very deeply, you know?
Well, I think that it does too. I mean, for instance, one of our kiddos can really struggle with transitions and changing that is transitions, right? Changing from one thing to the next, or he gets that particular thing stuck in his mind and it's very, very hard for him to change. Well, sometimes we have to help him along a little bit and there may be some bribery involved with that. And I'm not ashamed of that, but it helps get him unstuck in a specific way. And so I don't advertise that so much with, people that we're around, but I'm not ashamed of that because I know how his brain works. And it's not that he's, taking advantage of me or whatever. I just know that he gets stuck on certain things. And so in order to help him get unstuck, I'm willing to put a little bit of effort in there to try something different to entice him to make steps. I mean, last year when we were at Mount Rushmore, he didn't want to go on this big walking trail because he has a little bit of fear of heights. And it wasn't super high, but he just flat out refused to try it because he was scared. But I'm like, I think you're really going to enjoy this. And everybody wants to go and we're doing it together as a family. So I might have bribed him with a little bit of money and I made it high enough that he would consider it. And he did it and he did enjoy it.
He did love it. Yeah.
And we had a fun time as a family. And I'm like, should I be bribing my kid to do this? Maybe, maybe not. But for him, it was the right choice and it was a good outcome. And I'm happy to help him overcome some of his fears by enticing him a little bit.
Well, it's just, and that's what it is. For him, it's just, he gets stuck.
Yes.
And he can't get his brain unstuck from whatever the fear or the thing he thinks he doesn't want to do is. And so if you can get him past that stuck point, he's normally very flexible and he enjoys plenty of things. And he was climbing trees the other day and climbing playground equipment and all kinds of having a grand old time.
Right.
But he just gets stuck sometimes and he needs help kind of getting unstuck so that he can go do the things that we know that he will enjoy.
Right.
Yeah. That was a real struggle for us until we kind of figured out what helps him.
Exactly. But coming back to finding people that you can connect with, this is the other piece I really wanted to talk about with this today, because sometimes we're part of a large community of people. We know a lot of people and not everyone understands our story the same way. And not everyone gets us in the same, particular understanding of how we parent and how we incorporate being trauma informed and maybe even agrees with us in how we do some things. And that's okay because we're learning to step into that by doing what's best for our kids and not necessarily trying to please other people. That's a growth point for us.
Well, and we don't know everything.
Right. And we don't. And we continue to learn and we continue to grow. But one of the other pieces is that some of our friends that really do get that, we're not like physically close with them. Like geographically, we are kind of far away. And there's an element where we've learned to accept the fact that the people that really fill our tanks and that we really connect with may not be there all the time. And that's okay because it can be a season. And there's also people that will come and go in our life and it can be a seasonal thing. Like this friend is a really good friend for this season and that's okay. I think it's been a challenge for me because I've had friends and I'm always like, whew, okay, this friend really gets me. I adore them. I want to do all the things with them. And then something happens and either, they move away or our life changes or we just go separate directions. And I always take that so personally, but I'm starting to learn that there can be friends for a season.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that. I think that's a good thing to acknowledge, that sometimes friends are friends for a season, and we can be thankful for that, and we can enjoy that, and we can kind of really have fun in that season with that person. And then when that season is over, we can kind of mourn that loss of relationship and be okay.
Be okay, because there may have been a lot of therapy involved in this on my part for understanding this, because I really have taken it personally. Really, it doesn't say so much about me as it says about the fact that life just changes.
Yeah.
And
Life
that's
does.
okay.
That's really true. And it's okay that this relationship doesn't work for one reason or another, that I enjoyed it while it happened. And if things change again and it works again, I'll rejoice in it again. But I'm not going to be best friends with every person I click with for my entire life.
I know. And there's so many people that I just adore and I would love to be friends with all the time. But there's just physically not enough space in my mental bandwidth to be really good friends with everyone that I run across. And that's okay. It's good to have those people in your life that see you and that care about you and that you connect with. And then, as life changes, as circumstances change, as children change, I can think of friends that we had when our kids were young and we always hung out. And then when, as our kids got older and they got interested in different things and their kids got interested in different things, we just haven't seen each other for a long time. Now, would I still consider them friends? Yes. But do we see them very often? No.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of hard because I still really care about them and like them, but it's just a different season of life and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, and circling back to what you were saying too, that if there's those people we know that we're not physically close to them, or we can't go over their house for dinner once a week or things like that, that the benefit of modern technology is things like Zoom and FaceTime exist.
That's true.
And so we have one of the families that we have really connected with that understands us well, and we all the four of us all kind of really get along. We will make ourselves a cup of tea or some kind of dessert and sit down on Zoom after the kids are in bed and just chat for 45 minutes or an hour. And it's great.
That's true. And it's a great way to keep connected because, relationship builds with time and experience, shared experience and spending time together, which would be shared experience. Okay. I'm doing a circular thing here now.
But yeah, that's how you build relationship, is just, but the more time you spend together, the more that relationship can grow and develop and mature.
Yep.
So any other thoughts about camping, finding your people and just how it connects and how it fills you?
I think it's really easy to undervalue the time and effort into finding those people. And so I would say that prior to, say, like our camp experience, I would have been like, yeah, we have friends and we do stuff. But when I've started to understand how valuable that is of finding people that get our family, I would say, looking back on younger version of me, I would say put more effort into that.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Of finding those people. And it may not be, it may not come super easy, and that's okay. But I would put more value on finding ways to connect with those people, whether it's going to a camp, whether it is investing in relationships locally, but just making the effort to put into that and finding the people that want to reciprocate a little bit.
Because it does require effort.
It does.
A, and B, not everybody likes you as much as you want to like them.
I know, right? I can think of this one couple that we were friends with when we first got married. And, I love spending time with them. And
we did everything together.
We would. And we lived like in the same apartment complex. We were both newly married. And that was so fun. But it just changed over time. And that's okay. And I don't think it was anything personal. I think it was just life circumstances changed. And that's okay.
But again, that comes back to what you're saying, that life changes, that sometimes some friends are for a season and we can enjoy that season. And when that season changes in life, that it's okay.
It's okay.
So what things would you recommend to people? You're saying that one of the things that really struck you is if you could go back and talk to your younger self, you would say, put more time and effort into finding your people. like, what does that look like? How do you do that?
I think that finding ways to get connected with people who have similar interests. Like one of the things that we did for a long time was small group. And then after a season, I think we went a while where we weren't a part of a small group because we had the oldest, youngest, and all the kids.
Yeah.
And that made it difficult. But then we were like, well, nobody understands us. And sometimes
And some of that was on us.
and some of that was on us. I will definitely own that. But we can tell ourselves, we can fill in the gaps by telling ourselves a story that nobody else is going to understand us. And so unless if we show up, we're not going to give people the opportunity to understand us.
Yeah, that's really true.
And, you know that I love the phrase, what story am I telling myself? So many times I am telling myself a story. I am filling in the gaps rather than asking or continuing to show up because it's just hard.
It takes effort. Like you're saying, the relationships take effort. And so we're getting back into a small group right now, and we're trying to do the thing. We're trying to put the time in and make the effort and show up and be present and try to invest in those relationships because we know that it's important.
We do.
But it takes effort, and it's easy to believe that it's not worth it.
Oh, for sure. It is easy. And, again, we fill in those gaps and go, nobody understands us. Nobody gets us. Why are we even bothering to show up? But sometimes we need people, but people need us too.
That's a really good point too, that by the fact of showing up and trying to connect and trying to spend time in relationship, you're actually there for somebody else too, which is huge because as much as we kind of focus on our own experience and how we're feeling lonely and disconnected and the things that are going on in our lives, and because that's our lives, most of the people around us feel the same way. They feel as disconnected or as lonely or as unseen as we do. And there's a deep level of value and kind of relationship building that happens when you show up and you're present for somebody else.
Exactly. Because we never know how our stories are going to interact. I mean, that's half the reason why I do this podcast is because if it weren't for the people that we heard talking about how they parented differently, how they showed up for their kids, we wouldn't have learned things that we've learned.
Yeah. And it's transformed our family in beautiful and very good ways.
Absolutely. And plus, I love talking to you about these things. And we have great conversations and figure we might as well record them and share them with other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So showing up for activities, trying to find people that share interests with you, any other practical things people can do to help find their people out there?
That's a great question.
I think a lot of guys bond by doing things. And so for guys out there, I'm a part of a men's pickleball, not league, I guess, men's pickleball get together on Sunday evenings. And so we get together and play pickleball for 2 hours. And when you're exhausted and sweating, and yes, we play pickleball aggressively enough that you're exhausted and sweating sometimes, but you bond because you just had a great time together and you're having lots of fun. So for men out there, men do need other men. Maybe that's the other point I wanted to make is that as much as men tend to carry the weight of, I have to do it myself. And it's important that people can rely on me and I can come through for others. That's all very good. And that's all very noble and honorable. But acknowledging that we as men still need help is a big deal. Because I know that even in family coaching, I've had men make the comment that they're like, oh, well, I'm not the kind of guy who likes to reach out. I don't want it to be looked poorly on that I needed help or I needed encouragement. Whereas I try to tell them, honestly, as a foster or adoptive parent, if you're not asking for help, that's what makes me nervous. If you're trying to do it yourself and you're trying to just muscle through and do it is really hard. And so parenting in general is challenging. Wherever you're at in life, it's hard. It's a challenge. And so you need people. You need to find those people. And so I think the point of this episode really is we want to encourage you that it takes time. It takes effort to find your people, but we found it deeply worth it. I mean, heck, we're driving from Minnesota to Colorado because we feel so seen at this camp. And I would encourage you, you don't have to drive halfway across the United States to do it, but it's worth the effort.
Yes, absolutely. It is worth the effort to find your people because we are built for community. I truly believe that we are not meant to be alone and that having other people in our lives is important. And it's easy to believe the lie that it's not.
So a couple of things I pulled out of the conversation today. A, it's easy to believe the lie that you're alone.
Yep.
That nobody understands you And while there's truth in the fact that nobody understands exactly every little nuance of your family, I'm going to encourage you, there are lots of people out there that understand, that have very similar experiences to you. And they don't have to have the exact same family composition as you to understand you in a deep and meaningful way.
Yep.
And another point that I liked was the idea that it's okay if a friendship is for a season. And so if you've recently had some changes in friendship and you feel like you're drifting apart and you and this other person aren't really connecting, show up, make the effort and try. But if you've done that and it's not working, it's okay to kind of mourn the loss of that relationship and let that go.
I love that.
Seasons come and go, and that's okay.
Yep. Fantastic. Well, this has been Road Thoughts. It's a little different than a normal formatting of our podcast because we're kind of just sharing the things that are coming into our mind and letting you in on some of the conversations that we have while we're literally driving on the road.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed or gotten value from our podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could share it with somebody else. And before we go, we'd like to remind you,
you don't have to be a perfect parent,
but we can all get a little bit better, one connected parenting minute at a time.
Thank you so much for listening to my mom and dad's podcast. Be sure to share it with friends and subscribe. See you next time.
For more parenting tips or to connect with us, check out the Connected Parenting Minute on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Or you can send us an email using connectedparentingminute@gmail.com.